Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's time for coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Tom Holland. So I think this question has a whole bunch of meanings for you and may bring out a really interesting answer, because to get across the finish line, whether it's at the end of an Ironman triathlon or an ultra marathon, or even just a regular old marathon, takes grit and guts. And as you were just saying, the ability to deal with real physical and mental pain. So could you share a time in your professional life, Tom, when you really struggled? Maybe you failed, maybe you got fired, you talked about the rejection letters for your books, and most importantly, how you persevered, and if there was a lesson that you learned in the process.
Oh my gosh, so many rejections, so many pulling, myself back up. Trying to think of a specific one. It's just all the rejection and being told, you know what, when I first came out with my DVDs, even my dad said, that's the dumbest thing ever. And so that was really challenging. And it was a huge investment, money I didn't have. And people said, well, why are you coming out with your own fitness DVDs? Who are you? Right. And again, I had to take such a leap of faith, not only professionally, but financially. And I invested, I rolled the dice and I said, you know what, I believe in myself. And that was the thing that kept coming up in my career, believe in yourself. Now, obviously we want support systems, but at the end of the day, you got to just believe in yourself. And that was tough. So coming out with these DVDs and having this huge kind of stress of, is it going to work? And then when it did, and it took a while and the orders started coming in, that self-efficacy was there. But it was a huge challenge and a huge leap of faith. But when you take that, it's all about taking those risks. And you got to get outside your comfort zone. And when you're doing what you know that you're meant to do, it's going to work. You just have to kind of push through it. I would imagine it's like self-fulfilling is not the right word, but it's like a virtual loop between your endurance, the kind of endurance activities that you engage in on the exercise front, and then the entrepreneurial endeavors that you engage in on the professional side, where one is feeding into the other. Absolutely. And I've gone around the world. You say, why do I keep doing this? I went to Brazil and the conditions were worse than Hawaii. The winds and just everything that could go wrong goes wrong. And that's what you learn. And what I love about the endurance events, Andrea, is that what you realize is you're on the same course as the professional, and you realize that we're all suffering, and we're all suffering in the same course. And I actually did a race in China where I was swimming, and I don't like swimming. We're not meant to swim. We're meant to be out of the water. We don't have gills. And I swam face first into 2 enormous red jellyfish, enormous. And I was feeling bad about myself, and it was painful, whatever. And then during the run, I see a guy running towards me, and he has the same tentacle marks on his face that I have. So we all go through tough times. And yes, you learn that such a simple yet powerful parallel between you're going to have obstacles thrown up and you just keep moving forward and it's going to get better. And there are no small steps. It's just a matter of you don't give up and eventually you're going to hit that finish line. I have more miles on my odometer than you do, Tom. I'm 56. Not many. And by the way, I do not think of myself as old. I know that our listeners do, but I feel like I'm 30. Okay. Right. And what I would say is that I have lived enough life now that I have seen where I have been in like the depths of despair, that great movie, The Princess Bride, right? Like way down in there where you're like echoing up, hello, hello, hello. And no matter how far down I may feel I've gotten, you are going to get
back up again. You are going to be feeling amazing again. So just hold that feeling and that belief that when you go through some shit in your life, you're going to come out of it and you're going to be feeling great again. This is just part of life.
Absolutely. My high school yearbook quote was, "You have to go through hell to get to heaven." The Steve Miller band song. And it's true. And one of the reasons I so love what I do is because I was in deep, dark places, college especially. So I so appreciate what I have. And I would not trade those really hard races. My most challenging race, and there were many, Malaysia, those were much more powerful, and I appreciate them more than the marathon I won. That was relatively easy. I trained hard and it was good and things went well. But when I look back at the real challenges, I'm so grateful for them, because when you go through them, as you know as well, these sweeter moments are so nice. And I'm fortunate to have gone through those tough times. And that's the thing. You're going to look back and say, they weren't as bad, and I'm glad I went through them.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.